Good morning, checking the levels. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in this fine world. Thanks for dropping by and spending a little time with me. I do appreciate it. Well, there's been a lot of action in Splinterlands in this last week, considering all the proposals going on and everything else within the game. So we have plenty to discuss, plenty of updates as well in other games I'm playing. So just let me know in the comments what do you all want to talk about this morning. I'm open to about anything. Crypto Beavers in the house. Good morning. Thanks for dropping by. KGM Jams in the house. Hello. Vilson's here. Thanks. And Crypto Beaver says, one day, 8 hours away from the Riskrell Drath Rebellion airdrop. Yep, the Darth Squirrel. That should be interesting. Let's take a look. Let's see here. I know I don't have a guaranteed. I have 73 chances at this point. So that should be interesting. I know it's a very interesting card to me. And the one that's following it up, it's like it's a squirrel being followed up by a cat. So I find that pretty funny too. So we can take a look. Jabby Saints is in the house. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate your time. KGM says beach plots are way too expensive. Beach plots? Are you talking about in Splinterlands or? Yeah. Oh, you're talking about in Atlas Earth. Yeah, I did a video on that last night, which is a pretty interesting video. I understand where they're headed because these games have, in case anybody doesn't play Atlas Earth, they dropped a skin in, you can reskin one of your parcels of land and make it look like a beach, and it upgrades it from a common to a legendary, so you make more off of it, but the cost is pretty prohibitive. It's 2,500 Atlas bucks, which is like unless you save them up, it takes quite a while to save up that much in game, but it's about like $100 US worth. So it's very cost prohibitive, and I can see where they're going. They're trying to get more money into the, to support the team and everything. And people love skins, but, it just doesn't make any sense for most people, as far as upgrading to a legendary, which only gets you 4 times what a common is, but it costs so much more. I mean, for that amount of Atlas bucks, you could get 25 parcels. And, you got a 5% chance of getting a legendary. So in those 25 parcels, you could probably get a legendary somewhere. So good point, though. I agree with that. I did a whole video on that. I dropped it yesterday. I think I was pretty succinct because they've got a lot of updates. 4 new countries coming online within the next 3 or 4 months, plus a bunch of other updates. So if you're interested in Atlas Earth, check out that video from last night. I thought it went pretty well. Yeah, like KGM says, get 25 plots instead. Yeah. Paul Taylor's in the house. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by. Supreme Victory Studios is here. Good to see you. Welcome. So, yeah, I mean, there's been lots of stuff going on. So I don't know exactly where to start with this. Obviously, we've got a lot of proposals out there. We've all done videos and talked about this. First of all, there's like the whole voucher talk, what to do about vouchers. I think most people agree that we need to do something with them. We've got a couple proposals up on what exactly to do with them. One of the proposals, I mean, I do like Crypto Eaters, but I also like the way the People's Guild went with it, as far as leaning, because if we went into something the way the People's Guild were discussing doing with the vouchers, there's no saying that we couldn't do something else after that, but it just depends upon how you feel about those. We also have the draft proposals available right now, and we have the proposal on Peak D as far as the funding from from Hive. So we have that we can discuss as well. So it's all a lot of different interesting things going on. We can discuss what happened at the town hall on Thursday. So I wouldn't say it was a really exciting town hall. I would say that it was interesting from a certain point of view, in that I think one of the biggest points and I'll jump over to the X on this. Deota posted this earlier, but one of the points about the proposal for Hive funding was kind of like, I guess, misconstrued, and I'm guilty. I kind of read into it a little bit myself, and a lot of people, I think there's a lot of people that are kind of would like the whole changing blockchains and things, but you know, I've talked about this before. That would be a massive undertaking. It's not one of those easy things that could be done. But either way, Matt had went ahead and reinforced with his statement that he has no intention of moving off of Hive. So that really cleared that up. But he did mention in his statement here what I've talked about in the past, that there possibly could be a buyout. And I talk about it because I've been involved in a company that was bought out, right? And I'm in the software space as well. So we can also discuss that. But I found that as a really interesting statement. Also, you know, in the town hall, they talked about, you know, where the game's going in the very near future as well. They have the one-click set rentals that are coming online in the very near future. I don't necessarily think that it'll affect me. I might try it out like on my secondary account. I don't know. But I do definitely think that what they showed on those will help in the whole onboarding process. And, you know, this is that whole bridge we've been talking about getting new people in to look at the game, and not only just look at the game, but actually start playing and dive into the game. So they've got the one-click set rentals built into just kind of after you start playing the game, it funnels you to say, hey, you've got this SPS or whatever they're giving them to start off with, not SPS, but DEC to start off with. Do you want to spend that on renting out a set, you know, a basic set of cards for a certain amount of time to get up and running? I like that idea. Not that I'll necessarily use it, but it's a good idea. I liked their presentation on how it would occur after a person's first started the game, and I think it would make it a little bit easier versus just dumping a person into bronze or novice and just said, hey, there you go, start, you know. So okay, let's see here. Jabby Saint says People's Guild proposal is way better. HDF might not get approved. I was looking at that. I don't necessarily know how to read it because it is currently in the, I went over here to the Peak D channel. It is in the upcoming. I thought it was already active, but it's in the upcoming section now. Said it was put out. You know, I don't know exactly how to read the status. If you know how to read the status, let me know, because it's in the upcoming and not the active headline right now. We do have a fair amount of Hive power behind it. I don't know what the required Hive power to pass this would be. So if you know that, drop that in the chat too so we can discuss. But I found it interesting because I thought this was already active, but it is in the upcoming section. I don't know if he went in and changed it, or does this mean it was passed and it's getting ready to start? I don't know. These are big questions on my mind. I started thinking about, hey, I need to look at what the status of this before we started the show, and I still have just more question marks. So if you know, go ahead and drop it in the channel and we'll talk about it. Bolts85 is in the house. What's up? Thanks for dropping by. Trying to bring a little bit of that Bolts energy. I don't have an energy drink. I just have water, but it's hard to match his energy on his videos. So if you haven't checked out his videos, go over there and check them out. Watch out with those energy drinks, though, man. They'll blow up your heart if you're not careful. Vilson says, is Atlas for mobile only? Atlas is a mobile only game because it is built on the premise of being in different places around the world. So it's actually, you have to go in different areas and buy parcels of land. You can basically buy parcels of land anywhere, but to get the badges, you have to actually go to different counties, different cities, different countries that you can collect. And I've just kind of been excited about it because they've been making a lot of progress lately. Within the last year, they went online in Australia, the UK, Ireland, Mexico, Northern Ireland. What's that other country? I'm sorry, the other country down by Australia. And then they announced 4 more countries they're going to go online with in the next few months. So I'm pretty excited. They show, for a very small development team, they show a lot of expansion, and they're moving forward with the game. So anyway. Check out, if you're interested, you want to check it out. It's free to play. I don't really spend any money on it other than going to like the restaurants they have linked and stuff like that. They have, they have this program where, if you go to the restaurants or the providers like the auto parts store over here, I use, you can get points for spending dollars there, and you can use those in game stuff. So if you're interested, check out the show notes and use my link. You get a little bit and I get a little bit. So let's see what else is going on in chat. Lawrence Blake is in the house. Welcome. Thanks for dropping by, Lawrence. Paul Taylor says, goes active in 1 day. I believe it's around 25 million needed. Okay, so we are showing at 17 and a half. So we need some more support, basically. So if you have not, if you've not voted for this, go over and vote. I did a video a few days ago, and the link is in the show notes on that as well. Also, I think you can find it, in the Splinterlands information on Discord, because I think they put it in an announcement as well. So obviously, we need a couple more big Hive people to vote. I don't have a whole lot of Hive, but what I have is voting for it. So, yeah. Okay, so Jabby Saint says, active proposals are approved and currently being funded. Splinterlands needs 25 million Hive power to be approved. Okay, thanks, Paul and Jabby Saints, for clearing that up. So, like I said, you need about 5, 6, 7.5 more million Hive power to get that passed. So I guess we can just cross our fingers. I don't know. Can we pull that together in a day and a half or a day, whatever? I don't know. But like he said in his statement, he said, we have no intention of moving off the Hive, whether or not this proposal passes. If the DHF chooses not to support us, then it is more likely that we will at some point be forced to sell the company or take in investment from outside sources who may want to move the game to another chain, at which point I will not be able to prevent that. In those cases, the funds and resources to move will come from the purchaser investor. Yeah, and I've talked about this before. Some people have called me, a little bit off my rocker, but I've seen this happen, and this is how the business works. All it takes is a bigger company to say, you know what, I want to do something on a blockchain. And Splinterlands has this whole platform built out. It would be perfect for what we want to do it. So let's go ahead and buy Splinterlands up. And all it takes is a check with enough zeros behind it to convince somebody. I'm serious. I mean, I like Matt. I like the direction he's going. Some people don't like some of the directional changes he's made to the company. But, people are people. Human nature is human nature. You see enough zeros on a check, you're going to sell, So that's just my take on it. Maybe I'm wrong, So tell me if I'm wrong. Let's see here. So they are not in the EU. Vilson, are you talking about Atlas Earth? Currently, Atlas Earth is going on, or is online in England, Great Britain, and Ireland, the whole of Ireland. And they're getting ready to go online in Germany within the next few months, 2 or 3 months. They're slowly going online in different areas. They're also going online in North Korea, South Africa, and one other country. If you're interested, check out the video I dropped yesterday. It's pretty interesting. It's a pretty short video, like 11 minutes, and I cover a lot of topics in a rapid pace manner for me. The funny thing is that I actually, whenever I edit my videos, I speed up the video by 10% because I tend to, I lived in the South for quite a long time, and once I moved up north, I realized in the States that I had like I don't want to say a drawl, but I want to say that I have a Southern accent and I speak a little bit slower than a lot of people do. So whenever I edit my videos, I speed it up by about 10% just to get, to make it, you try to make the videos a little bit shorter because you want people to watch your whole video and not cut off after 5 or 6 minutes. So you try to condense it down and not make it sound like you're just like, dragging everything out. But anyway, I thought it was an interesting video. Check it out if you're interested in Atlas Earth. I'm having fun with it. And like I said, it didn't cost me any money to play, so just time. Let's see here. Jabby Saints says Atlas is playable in Philippines. Currently not live in the Philippines. I have to bring up, I'm sorry, I should know this because I just did the video last night, but I'm going to look at my slide. Okay, so it's going live in the next 3 or 4 months in South Africa, Germany, France, and South Korea. Those are the new countries coming online. And it's currently live in the United States, Canada, Australia, UK, Ireland, and one other country down by Australia. I'm sorry why the name of that country is. If you're over there, I'm sorry. It's eluding me. So Jabby Saints says, every time I hear marketing, I always think of Weirdbeard. Such a big loss to Splinterlands. Great guy. I think I'm one of those guys that didn't have a problem with Weirdbeard. I think that he was trying his best. He was thrown into a weird situation. He was thrown into a situation where he was kind of marketing, but he was wearing a number of different hats. And he was trying to do what he could for the company. And he, like I said, over time, he took on different hats. And he was very, I like, me as a person, you can see that I like people who are problem solvers, in that you've probably worked with people like this, and you've also worked with the opposite of people. And this is kind of getting off topic, but a person that you work with is a good team member if they're willing to try and solve an issue and not be the guy saying, hey, that's not my job. It's very hard to work with those type of people. I'll give you credit if you specialize in one area and that's what you want to do, but I've had the best work relationships with people that if you had a problem and you were trying to solve it, they kicked in, and even if it wasn't their job, hey, let's figure out how to solve this. It might make me do something outside of my job responsibilities, put on another hat, as it were, of responsibilities, but they're trying to get the job done. And in that situation, he seemed like that guy. He went from, being in marketing to working on tournaments and different things like that. And then ultimately, they got rid of him. So I try not to get into the politics. I liked it from the standpoint of it. To me, it just seemed like he was doing whatever the team needed him to do at that point. So I'll give him credit for that. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with him. I know some people didn't like him for some reason, but and some people don't like Aggie. But you got to see this. You work in business for long enough, and these different personalities by what they do. Aggie was a sales guy, and he did his job great. I'm not saying that he made good choices for the company, and we can see that in 2020 in hindsight, right? Because all our mistakes we make in life are always 2020 in hindsight. You can see what you did wrong, right? But he is a sales guy, you know, and what he did was he did a lot of sales. So I'll give him credit for that. So there's some people that don't like, I'm like, you just got to call him like it seems. Completely different type of person with a completely different skill set than what Matt is. So I'm getting off on topic. You know me. New Zealand, Lawrence, thank you. I'm sorry if there's any Kiwis out there. For some reason, I cannot remember the name New Zealand for the life of me. But Atlas Earth is live in New Zealand now as well. And there's a lot to it because Atlas Earth, it's not necessarily, the hard part of Atlas Earth is not necessarily going online in a country by, you know, instituting their map and the road maps and everything, counties and states and whatever provinces and whatever you have in your country. That's not the hard part because you can pull that map together and stuff like that. The hard part is the advertising because the whole game is based upon advertising, watching advertising, getting your Atlas bucks. And a lot of countries have a lot stricter and tighter rules on personal information, especially the EU. Okay. Overall, to be clear, I wish we had some of the strict, the GDPR rules here in the States as they do in Europe. But basically, here in the States, we can get our personal information abused more than what you can in a lot of countries around the world. But my basic statement is the whole game is based on advertising and use of personal information. So it comes down to making sure that the game fits within the rules and regulations within your particular country and getting it approved. And then, you know, putting the maps in place and everything like that. So I'm sure there's a lot more to it. I'm not on the team. I followed on Reddit. The game team uses the official Atlas Earth Reddit as their means of interacting with the public. So let me get a drink of water here. Okay, let's see what else everybody's saying. Paul says he was basically referring to Weirdbeard. He was basically handcuffed the whole time and couldn't really do anything he wanted because of a lack of dev resources. Yeah, I saw that happening. He was trying to do, he had several initiatives and it just seemed like every time he turned around, you know, he didn't outright say a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff was just kind of inferred in how he talked about things. But I think he tried to do the best with an odd situation. He was put in between a rock and a hard place. He tried to do what he could, and ultimately he wasn't a miracle worker. Let's just put it that way, right? So Alex B's in the house. Welcome. Says, sounds like Weirdbeard. Alex B says, SPS is under a penny. Game over. You think so? I haven't looked at it this morning. It's been under a penny for a while. Let's see here. Let's refresh this. 0.068. And why is it taking so long to refresh? Okay, so it's still at 0.0068. So, I mean, DEC and SPS have picked up a little bit over the last week. I'm not saying we're on an uphill thing, but they are up a little bit. I bought a little bit of DEC and SPS this week. Call me crazy. I'm not putting huge amounts of money in here, but I did buy a little bit of SPS and a little bit of DEC this week. At least it's not continuing to go down. I mean, not that it won't go down, but I like it better when it's going up a little bit rather than going down. Interestingly enough, I did buy some cards this week, but it was just a common, but it was a great common. Let's see here. Let's go to Chaos Legion and common and neutral. Why am I not seeing that? Oh, I'm under owned soulbound. Sorry, I'm just trying to find this card. Here we go. So I know it's just a common, but Chaos Agent is an awesome card. 1 mana, maxed out, has dodge, phase, backfire. I was in a match this week, and I had Chaos Agent on my side, and they had Chaos Agent on their side, and I just couldn't hit it. I couldn't hit the damn thing. So, and I was looking at mine, and they won, whoever it was, won the match. And I saw, oh, wow, I don't even have a maxed out Chaos Agent. I think mine was like level 7 or level 8, and they had a maxed out Chaos Agent. And that was the whole difference in the match. So I immediately went over and maxed out my Chaos Agent. I know it's just common, but that was my move in the game this week. If you don't have one, you really need a maxed out Chaos Agent. It's great to throw in. Obviously, it's for low level matches or low mana matches, but that was what I bought this week as far as cards go. Bolts85 says KGM did a great call out on token immutable X. Yeah, I agree. I mean, if we were talking about moving, I like the immutable. Let's see. I've got too many tabs open here, but yeah, here we go. If you don't know and you don't have an immutable X, you can go over and start an account, and you can claim a free gem every day. And obviously, if you invest in, hold some IMX, you get more gems per day. And I'm not exactly sure if they have anything you can use these gems for, but I guess the whole idea is they have this whole stable of games. And I think, you know, that's kind of the way that Splinterlands is going with, you know, their framework of developing out some games. But yeah, if you're not familiar with it, you can go over and just collect a free gem every day if you want to. Who knows what it's going to be good for? I like how Immutable X is set up. It seems to have a good stable of games available. So there's that. And I agree. I mean, it would be a good choice, but like Matt said, he's not really thinking at this point about moving blockchains. As soon as that was brought up and inferred in one of the short paragraphs within the proposal, I was like, he can't be seriously thinking about that. That is a huge undertaking for such a small team. I mean, to have that happen, basically, you would have to have a big influx of funding from a different blockchain. And I'm not saying that wouldn't happen, because some of these other big blockchains are putting out big time money to kind of bring games in or have new games developed, you know, and add to the development funds. Okay. So I'm not saying it wouldn't happen, but it would be like a planned out project. They would have to have a project team put together. They would have to have $1 million+ probably put into it. And then you'd have the question of, could it even be done with our current, the way the game is currently set up with the cards and everything. So anyway, he said he's not into it, but he also stated if they get bought out in the future, he won't have a choice, right? So, okay. Let's see here. Vilson says, broke right now, but I would ape some SPS if I had dry powder. Yeah, I've been going along, and I bought the dollar cost averaging type idea, right? Just a little bit at a time. And I'm not a big investor. I'm not a big guy. But I like the idea of putting it a little bit in at a time. So at least if it ever picks up, I can say, yeah, I got some, you know. But I'm the same way with stocks and other investments too. I do a little bit at a time. I'm not that guy that goes whole hog into something, because with my luck, it wouldn't turn out well. So. Okay, let's see what's going on here. My financial journey's here. Thanks for dropping by. Still not buying any SPS here. Still selling 100% of my liquid SPS into Bitcoin. Interesting choice. Interesting choice. I have some Bitcoin too. Once again, not a lot, but I have some. Just to say I have some that came mostly from my mining days. I'm no longer mining really. But at one point I was mining Ethereum on some video card rigs and converting to Bitcoin. I do have some Ethereum too, so not much. I don't really like interacting with the Ethereum blockchain. I don't mind the side chains, right? But those games that are still on the main Ethereum blockchain, I just stay away from because those huge gas fees, right, just really turn me off. You know, I forget even what I was doing a year or two ago on some game that was built on the main Ethereum chain. And it's just like I bought one thing within the game and it cost me like $40 just to transfer. And I'm like, I can't do this. And frankly, that's also why I didn't buy into what's the thing in Splinterlands where it's on Ethereum, the one with the funny artwork. Forget the name. I'm forgetting a lot of stuff this morning. Paul Taylor says, why don't you follow Matt and Dehota SPS. What do you mean on X? If you mean on X, if I don't follow you on X, don't be offended. I don't do much on X. I've been trying to do a little bit more because Dehota and Gold Matters are very active over there, and I see their pop-ups. I follow Dehota, I follow Gold Matters, and I try to. I've got some followers, and whenever I drop a video or that's Splinterlands related or something, like I put my live stream up there, I try to drop those, but I'm not one of those people that spend my time. I've got so many different things to do that I try to use it as a kind of just another way to interact with people, but I don't spend a lot of time on there. So don't take it as an affront. It's just one of those places I don't spend a lot of time on. Rooney207 is here. Thanks for dropping by. He says hi. Late to the party. Better late than ever. It's always fun when everybody drops by. More the merrier. Vilson says, I've been in the SPS Colony pool and GLX SPS pool for a while. I am not part of those pools. See, Gathering is here. Welcome, even later to the party. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it. We've been talking about a variety of different things, mostly all the proposals that are out there, but we've spent a fair amount of time talking about Atlas Earth. I've also been playing Woo, the wrestling game, as well lately, and Golem Overlord, some big upgrades there as well. I found Woo interesting. The one thing is there's a big lack of match liquidity. There's not a whole lot of match liquidity there. I think it's interesting buying cards that are wrestlers and putting them up in a wrestling match. It's pretty interesting, but a lot of times the matches fail out. A lot of times there just isn't anybody to play, and you end up playing, if it doesn't fail out, you end up playing the bot. You do end up Woo, and I do have some Woo invested, which is pretty interesting in and of itself. Let me refresh as well. This is the main Woo page, and you can see that you can stake, and there is staking rewards and stuff. So, I find that kind of stuff interesting as well, and they are making advancements within that game, so I've been doing that as well, off and on. Let's see here. Gathering Eliza or Eliza. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Waskins in the house. Hello. Thanks for dropping by. Appreciate it. Gathering says, anyone grabbing vouchers now that it sounds like we are headed to voucher store? I am not. I thought about it because we talked about this, I think, last week at this time. Or a couple other times, you had brought it up. It might be interesting and it might be worth it because vouchers have been going down. Everything else has kind of been going up, but vouchers have been going down. And for some reason, there was a spike the other day, but vouchers are down. So, I mean, it kind of looks like the People's Guild proposal is going to get passed. Well, it will at least go into full. Let's take a look so I know what I'm talking about here. Okay, so yeah, it looks like it's going to get passed. 76% are voting for it. I like the idea. I also, frankly, liked Crypto Eater's idea. I think that there was a lot that had to be worked out with that idea. Um, and even with the People's Guild, I mean, like Matt said on it, even if we went this direction, it doesn't mean that we couldn't do this for a while and then, do something else with it, right? It's a good first step, maybe. So I like that idea. I voted for both of them. But it's a good idea. I mean, the whole idea about having exclusive items under a subsection. He said that it might be in the glint shop. It might be in a separate purpose-built shop just for vouchers. And they would take. There was discussion on the town hall the other day about this, as far as maybe having, they've got these cards special built out for certain purposes, maybe taking some of those and just adding them specifically to the voucher shop. So maybe a card would be there, card would be there for a few weeks, a month, whatever, and then it would go away. You could buy whatever, sorry, trying not to burp here. And then it would, kind of the whole idea we were talking about with the glint shop, having rotating items in and out. I think everybody likes that idea. So I like that idea. I don't know if I'm necessarily going to buy up vouchers just for that purpose, though. So good thing to bring up, though. Good talking point. Let's see. Where are we at here? Bolt says, woo, they, someone like the Big Show, Andre the Giant type of cards. Well, they are, but they're not those big names. And a lot of those come down to licensing. We have people that are, some of them are not actual people. They have made these up. And you can go in and look at them if you wish. But there's some that are actual people that were real wrestlers. Like Perry. I'm trying to find Perry. Anyway, there are some people within this game that have, like Perry Saturn. This guy was a real wrestler. Okay, so if you go in and you buy one of his cards, then a certain portion of that goes to the actual wrestler for support. So I do like that idea behind this game. There are a few of them that are like that. There's another manager in there that I don't have. He's a little bit more of a high dollar card, but I do like that idea where they're actually supporting the wrestlers on the back end. So it's pretty cool. It would be nice to have the bigger named wrestlers up there. But I think that comes down to just too much money for licensing rights, really. Rooney207 says, is buying vouchers risky? Well, if you have to ask it, it probably is. Buying any crypto is risky. Trust me. Any crypto, any stocks, it's all risky. It's all just gambling. It's just another form of gambling. I've always went about it from an aspect of buying what I need to play in the game and trying not to use it as a investment. Like, I'm going to invest this and hopefully, down the road it returns more. I've always just tried to buy cards and put SPS in and try to gradually build my account up over time. And I think I'm at a decent spot. At this point, I've got 77,500 SPS staked right now, which isn't a lot compared to a lot of people, but it's a lot more than most people, right? But when SPS staking first went live, I was at like 12,000 SPS. So you can see my movement, and it's been a slow, gradual evolution. Like I've said, I'm not one of those guys that just jumps in whole hog, but this also represents me on a daily basis claiming what I have. I have a little bit in a pool. It's still an SPS DEC pool, but I put a little bit in there at the very beginning. I claim my pool, and then I claim whatever my staking rewards are, and then I leave myself a slush fund of 500 SPS, and the rest just gets staked. because I end up using that. Like I might buy a wrestling card in Woo, or I might go over here in Golem Overlord and buy something, a chest, or I might go into dCrops. This is another game I'm having fun with. You can see that I'm up to 10 rare plots over here, and you can see what I have planted currently. So I think one of the main things, or I don't think, I know one of the main things I like playing on Hive is the interoperability of trading the different tokens back and forth on Hive Engine to allow me to do this. You know, and one of the things that's helped me try new games is people using my referral codes. Does that make me a rich guy? Does that even pay me? No, it gives me a little bit to try these new games that I can convert into different tokens. That's why I kind of wish I brought a fair amount of people into Splinterlands over the years, but I agree that the referral whole process, which they talked about in the town hall, just needs to be changed somehow, right? Because this whole thing of referring people just has really gotten me nothing over the years. So either way, I mean, it's not a living. It helps me out, try different games. That's why I always say, hey, check out the referral codes in the comments, you know, and stuff like that. So let's see here. Let's catch up with chat. Rooney207 says, Crypto Eater needs to buy more SPS to ensure his proposals always pass. I don't know how much he has, but I think he has a fair amount. Gathering says, at this price point, no. Answering the question, is buying vouchers risky? But it's a good point. Gathering's point, I think, call me out if I'm wrong, is that at this price, it's a steal. I mean, once again, we've talked about this before. It all comes down to how you feel about the game. If you're fairly certain that you agree with the direction the game is going, then why not buy some? It's at an all-time low, right? You know, and beef up your pocketbook, so to speak, right now, because you are believing that the direction the game is going in. If you're not certain, or if you're selling out, obviously you're not agreeing with the future of the game, so there's that. But we all have that choice, right? And that's one of the other things that I like about the game, is that you can buy, sell, trade the assets. Whereas in a regular game, you know, you go in and you're playing Fortnite, you're playing one of these other big names. I don't have nothing against Fortnite. I don't play it. I'm not a first-person shooter kind of game guy. But you can pay $50 to buy a skin on a gun just so your gun looks different in game, right? So what is different, you know? But you stop playing that game, guess what? That skin stays in the game. You don't get anything out of it. Here, you buy a $50 card, and yeah, you sell it. I mean, in the future, you may get $25 or $10 out of it, but you can get something back out of it. Or if it skyrockets, you can make a profit, right? That's one of the things I liked about the game, right? So Gathering says that this Bolts says Splinterlands should shy away from constantly making too many changes. It's an interesting point. You know, yeah, that's a whole different discussion. I want to say that, and for those of you who are not, and I'm not a developer, but I've said before I work with them, this is the whole agile philosophy versus the older style philosophy of building software, which is called waterfall, where waterfall, you build it all out, you test it, and you release it, and you in that process, remember back in the day, they didn't talk, the development team didn't really talk to the gaming public, nothing like that. The way they're operating this game, and I think it's one of the cool parts of it, is the fact that we are all in the agile process of this game, because not only are we in on a lot of the decisions that are being made, but they keep us up to date. Now, they've decreased the amount of town halls and interaction, but they are still very highly interactive with the public about what they're doing. And basically what you're seeing is the agile development method in action, right? So I know it's getting kind of geeky, but you know, it's interesting to me, right? So Let's see here. Vilson says, haven't checked node or card prices in a while. I looked at node prices because I want to do this video because, but I haven't gotten around to it. It's the whole idea is how vouchers going away is going. The biggest, I think, the biggest impacted group is the people that put all this money into the nodes, and you know, nodes are expensive, and pulling one of the, you know, they're getting SPS out of it, but they're also getting vouchers, which is a fairly large portion of what they're getting. Pulling that away from them or putting it into a format where they can't turn around and sell that for a profit is a heavy impact on people that put a lot of money into the game, you know. And I talk about it. I didn't buy Node, but my brother did, and it was fairly expensive, and it's more expensive at this point. So it's a good topic. I do want to broach that, but I'm not ready to talk about that right now. Eliza says, hi, can I ask, are you playing also Soul Keep? If yes, can you give me some strategy what tower I use in first wave? If the first wave have a lot of fiends, will respond. I always fail to process the next wave. I have played it, and I do have some cards. I don't feel like I'm in the position to give you strategy tips. Other people can put in the chat. But I do feel that, let's go over here to Soul Keep, in fact, while we're talking about it. I do feel that some of the rarer cards do give you a really a foot up, you know, meaning that this is, I think there's a lot of strategy to it, but there's also a lot of pay to win here. So in other words, buying the better towers will help you out a lot. Now, people who play a lot more, I still haven't went into League 2 because I still need to get a few more souls, but let's go into my defenses. One of my favorites, if you happen to have it, is the Quad Killer. And this is an epic, but I find that I always have to start with one of these. The Quad Killer shoots out it can shoot 4 enemies at a time. So, like I said, I'm not really extremely into the game, but I love this card. That's what I can say. Vilson says, anyone buying cards or nodes? Rooney207 says, I am buying gold cards weekly. Gathering the Magic says, and back on Vilson's, you know, I was looking into nodes and I was briefly thinking about it, but, you know, if you went in to buy one right now, they're in the thousands of dollars. You know, look, let's see here. Licenses. So there's 4,992 licenses left, 1 node license. I know they're in the 3rd tranche. This gets very math heavy. So I do know they're very expensive, in the thousands of dollars. So that's why I'm not really even considering it. I was thinking about if there was one on the secondary market, picking it up. I know I think I've seen them for sale on the secondary market, but I don't think there are any currently. But I did have the idea in the back of my head, depending upon what they do with these. The idea was that maybe if they're getting rid of vouchers, some people might want to offload one for a lower price. But I haven't seen any lately. So it was just an idea, fleeting. I get a lot of these things come through my head. Gathering says he's buying cards, gold foil, commons, some alphas and betas. Rooney207 states, if you really understand that specific product and service, it's not risky long term. Talking about the SPS buying, it becomes a skill-based transaction. Yeah, you can agree, I think we all can agree that we're still here, a lot of us are here because we believe in Splinterlands, or at least have a strong hope that Splinterlands exists and continues to do better. But there's still a very large element of risk in buying any cryptocurrency, right? But I mean, if it's backed up with a game, it's stronger than just going out and buying some meme coin, right? So Bolt says, I really don't like the staking system here in Splinterlands. 13%. They need to bring back the airdrop system where you get rewards for land, skins, packs, etc. Do you remember that? Yeah, I remember those good old days. Gathering says, like the idea of skins that level up or skin fragments. Yeah, I like it. I think they need to come up with a different term than skin fragments, though. That sounds kind of gross. Yeah, I liked it. You know, I've talked about this before. I like the whole idea of skins if they have a change that they make as far as what they do. If there's a specific use for them. If they're just for graphics, I'm not for them. You know, I mean, I agree. There are people that would love them, and I'm for them being in the game. But as far as me personally, I wouldn't buy them. Like in a game outside, you know, any other game, I don't buy skins just for the graphics, right? I have to have some innate benefit from them that I think I would use. I like the idea of the whole skin, having skins. Since I'm in the land game as well, I like the idea of having skins you can put on cards that are staked on land to give you bonuses on your land, specific bonuses. I like that idea too. So, and somebody brought that up in the town hall. So I didn't come up with the idea, but I like it. Rooney 207 says Splinterlands needs to market the fact that they're one of the OGs. Yeah. Yeah, they've been around for longer than most. Eliza says it would be, I would like to ask about the gameplay right now about the league. We are in favor of gameplay right now, which we can use max level in lower league. If we're still talking about Splinterlands, there are really no leagues, right? In just regular competitive play. You can, you know, it just comes down to the higher level cards you have and the better player you are, the higher you're going to make it. Okay, so they've removed the league limits. This was some time back. So whether you're for that or against it, it's still a wildly contested argument, but currently there's really no technical leagues right now. So except for like in brawls and in tournaments, you can still have league leveled tournaments, right? So, or league ceiling tournaments. Gathering says, so now the question is whether to save my glint for next month's new Soulbound cards or keep trying to level. Yeah, I mean, that's been on everybody's mind. I guess it just depends upon how good you feel about your current set. I think that I'm still going to continue to buy some. I may be done trying to force my rare summoners to be maxed out. I may just turn over to, let's clear this. I may just turn over to trying to get a few more legendaries. My legendaries are not in the greatest of situations, most like level 1, level 2. I definitely, he's level 3. He's level 3, but these are cards that I don't use very often. But I might try to get a few more of those before we change over. There are some people that have already been stockpiling. I've got a lot of people that have commented on my videos that said they've stopped buying and have been stockpiling it up. So wish I had a higher level Kulu Mastermind. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, Rooney207 says we should be able to use max cards at all levels and every aspect of the game, including guild brawls and tournaments. Eliza, I don't know why they haven't changed brawls. That would be a significant. I can see. I mean, I can see that it would be a significant task to redo brawls and tournaments to not include the ceilings of each level. I can see arguments both ways, but I can also see that it probably wasn't done because it would take a lot of work to do it. Eliza says, for me, I don't like that max can be played in lower league. Hope they change it back, that every league has max level and they can use. Yeah, I agree. But here's the whole idea is that people with max level cards shouldn't exist in your lower level league for very long. They should, for instance, I don't play in Modern right now, but if I switched over in Modern, I would have to start in Silver. And I have some maxed out level cards. My deck isn't maxed out. But I wouldn't stay in Silver for very long. Of course, depending upon the competition, how good I was, how much I picked up, because I haven't played in Modern quite a while, right? But the whole idea is that they shouldn't be in your lower level for too long. You might match up against them and then they move up to the next level and continue to move up. Unless, of course, they've got max level cards and they're just a really crappy player, right? Which I guess there are those too. And I'm not the best player either. So, yeah, I can see your point, and that was the flip side of how it technically should be. Paul says, answering Eliza, hop on the Splinterlands Discord and ask in the SK room. Plenty of folks will help with strategy in there. Yeah, there's a couple of different rooms in the Discord where people, that's all they talk about is just strategy. So that would help out. Gathering says, if you are in Silver League, you should only face up to silver level cards. Whatever the league you are in, you should only play cards in that tier. Well, that's not the way it is unless you're talking about tournaments and brawls. Okay. Paul says $222 on secondary is the last sale. It looks for a node. I might spend $200 on a node, but that is not investment talk. That is more IT geek talk, because I was thinking about running a node. Say, for instance, you can run a node. When they get it up and running, it's going to be open source. You can run it if you're a geek and you have a little bit of infrastructure in your house, and you can run an extra computer or run it as a VM or something. I'd probably ended up running it on a machine as a VM. It's supposed to be very lightweight and not take a whole lot of resources if you're into tech geek talk. I'm very much a computer geek. I use any excuse to build out a new computer or a new VM for a certain purpose, etc. My brother has some servers that we can use as well, so he has a node, so he bought that at the very beginning, so he's very into that. So I would, if I bought it, would be more from not the investment point, but more supporting the game and liking the technical aspects of it. So Vilson says, at Rooney207, what about SPS? You buying any? Gathering goes on. Been making good money flipping packs from my $10 account and now really playing it. More profitable to flip. Yeah, that's interesting. You've been doing that for quite a while. Let's see here. Rooney207 says, I DCA weekly as well, but slowly. Gathering says, just beat you in battle. Bronze Dragon must be your bot. Yeah, like I said, unless you play me in a brawl or a tournament, you're playing the Archmage bot. I don't see. It must not have updated yet. Do you mean my secondary account? Let's see here. I want to see here. Let's see what you're talking about. Take a look at the match while we're talking. Oh, the brawl just ended. So I know we're getting down towards, oh yeah. So Jovac just beat me. We'll take a look at this while we finish up talking about this. This is me against Gathering's account. Let's see. Mine came in with a Zenith Monk, and yours came in with an Antoid Platoon. Oh, you've got a Dr. Blight on yours. I've got a Dr. Blight on my primary account now, but not on my secondary account. So let's watch the game match. Okay, let's finish up, see what everybody has to say. Coming down towards the bottom of the hour. Rooney207 says, I wish Splinterlands had a scholar program. Jabby Saint says, there are lots of organizations offering scholarships. Yeah, I know this has been a big discussion. I haven't really looked into it. In fact, that was brought up on the town hall. Basically, the question was, hey, if somebody's using my account as a scholar and they break the terms of service, am I responsible? And the answer is yes. If it's your account, then you're responsible for what goes on your account. So if somebody is a scholar, like say, for instance, you become a scholar on somebody else's account and you break the terms of service, guess what? You're going to get their account blocked. And then they'll have to go through the paperwork and emails of trying to get it unblocked. So watch that. Rooney207 says, not in Splinterlands. It's a word of mouth and not something officially adopted by the community as a whole. Scholars should be like renting SPS. Click your mouse and done. It would be nice. Gathering says, how many people actually have extra legendary cards that they would be willing to sell when you can unbind them? It may not be very many. And what he said with the 10 times multiple, it's going to be pretty expensive to unbind those cards. And I think that's a little bit too expensive. That's just my take on it, but it is what it is. And I agree with you that I think the amount of people that unbind these cards and use that feature at 10 times multiple is going to be low. So these cards are going to end up being very expensive if they're put out on the market. Rooney207 says, Soulkeep team should have their own Discord if they already don't. Yeah, I agree. Eliza says, I play Modern Silver, but I always encounter max level cards every day I played, and that's ruining the fun since max is more advantage. It's an automatic win for them. Yeah, this has been talked about ever since that big change came about. And really what you're seeing is either people that are bad players or people that have just transitioned from playing Wild into Modern and working their way up. For example, like I said, if I changed over to playing Modern, I would have to start out in Silver because I haven't played in Modern in quite a while. But all you can do is just make your feelings known. This was talked about a lot when that change happened. So the team is happy with where it's at, and they instituted some. It used to be worse. They put into play some bots in Modern that don't draw anything, any profits off the system to try and help out the situation. So hopefully it's getting better. My brother is recently switched over into Modern the last 2 seasons, and he's played. I believe he's got into Gold, but he's had a decent fun doing it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I think everybody does too. Paul says, at Eliza, when they can finally get 10K Splinterlands bots, then folks in each league should play accounts close to their same level. That's the hope anyway. Yeah. And especially if they're going to be able to make bots with ghost cards, which I voted on. I think at Eliza, if you're not familiar with this idea, they're putting bots into play in Modern that are built by they're not built by the company, but they're built by third parties, and the company lets them do that. So they build a bot account at bronze level, at silver level, and that's the maximum level they have on the cards. And these bots play to add more match liquidity, but they don't take any SPS out of the system. They're just there for people to be able to play. Now, when this change originally happened, there was very low match liquidity, and it was a lot worse than what you're encountering now. But they're still working on the situation. So, but it's valid. You should attend the town hall when you can and bring that up. Because if you're still seeing this and this is still It sounds like it's affecting your gameplay and making you unhappy. So you should bring it up in the town hall, right? Alex B says, I sold all the Soulbound cards that I had in the beginning of this, and I got a title, and then I sold the title for 88 bucks. Paul says 5K DEC for 1 BCX for a legendary is not bad. The golds are really expensive though. And Gathering says once the cards get unlocked and sold, there will be almost none for the new players that join in the next month's years. Yeah, I mean, people that join will just have to start with whatever set's going on. You know, I think whatever gets unbound, and by the way they are doing it, meaning that the price goes up. So logically speaking, if you want to unbind some of your soulbound cards, you have to decide what you want to unbind now, get your costs in order or get your DEC there, and when it goes live, go ahead and unbind them, because from there on out, it's just going to continue to get more expensive. And I agree with you from the idea that whatever gets unbound and gets put on the market, it's going to sell up, and nobody, you know, I don't think anybody in the future will get any, because people will buy them up now to combine and use to level up their cards, as it were right now. And then going forward, people new to the game will just have to use whatever set's going on. And I do agree with Matt on the idea of this is a set, the Soulbound set should be acquirable and a benefit of actually playing the game, and you're getting something out of proof, like Dwayne likes to say, time and attention, right? So Jabby Saint says, I don't think having Splinterlands bots is a solution to max level cards playing in lower leagues. Just bring back the league caps. There's arguments both ways, but you know, in a lot of other games you play, there's bots. I mean, it's just not referred to as bots. It's referred to as part of the game. It's part of, you're playing an NPC instead of an actual PC, a person, right? Paul says, at Gathering the Magic, the high meta cards will have a lot unlocked, I think. Yeah, and they'll also go for high dollar. But, you know, it is what it is. Gathering says, but will you sell a Kulu if you only have one? Paul replies, no, but there are tons of bot accounts with tons of those cards that will sell them. I can see personally, and I know we're going past the hour here. Good discussion all. Thanks for dropping by. I can see myself wanting to level a few specific cards that I like, you know, and I think everybody's going to be like that. I don't know. There might be some people that say, oh, I want to complete the set and try to max out everything. But as far as the way I play, I'll find some strategic cards that I want to have at higher level and just buy those. But I do overall agree with the idea that they'll be bought up relatively quickly because it doesn't really make sense to wait to unlock them. Okay, because they're just going to continue to get more expensive. So, Gathering says, I have to look and see if there's data on how many of each Soulbound are in circulation. That might be interesting. Wish you could get Soulbound cards in the Glint store, other than after they are retired, older draws for the older sets. I don't know. I mean, that's an interesting question, but I think the Glint store and the possible store to be used with vouchers, I think once a card's retired, it's retired. And then you would just have to work with whatever the new stuff. Okay, so, well, I think we'll draw there. Once again, great discussion this week, just as we had a great discussion last week. I do appreciate everybody coming by. If you're interested in any of the games we talked about, look in the comments for my referral code. As always, I appreciate it. And as always, I hope everyone on your side is happy and healthy. And I will see you in Splinterlands.